Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today I want you to pause and think about a question that is often ignored in the global climate conversation. Green for whom? We hear world leaders at climate summits. We hear billionaires pledging for net zero. We hear companies branding themselves as champions of sustainability. But the reality is far more complicated. What looks green in London, New York, or Paris often looks very different in places like Burkina Faso, Nigeria, or rural India. And that's the story I want to share with you. Every year, presidents, CEOs, and philanthropists take the stage at world conferences speaking about a green transition. They talk about solar power, clean hydrogen, electric vehicles, and renewable grids. Names like Mark Carney are praised as visionaries, architects of a future where fossil fuels are abandoned and humanity thrives on clean energy. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Behind these promises, behind the speeches, lies a question no one wants to answer. Who actually benefits from this green transition? Because in theory, net zero is about saving the planet. But in practice, it often becomes about saving profits, saving image, and saving the lifestyles of the already powerful. Today, imagine a school in a rural village. The children sit in classrooms with no electricity. Teachers try to explain lessons in near darkness. The hospital in that same village struggles to power basic medical equipment. Mothers give birth by candlelight. And yet, outside those villages, billions of dollars are being invested in so-called renewable energy projects. Giant solar farms are built, but instead of powering African villages, the electricity is exported abroad, sold for profit, or used to power industrial plants owned by foreign companies. So when world leaders stand at the podium and celebrate progress, people in Burkina Faso ask, progress for whom? Western countries demand that Africa stops building coal plants, stops exploring oil, and instead embraces green energy. But here's the hypocrisy. Europe and the US spent more than a century building their wealth on coal, oil, and gas. Now, after reaching the top, they're pulling up the ladder. They tell Africa, don't do what we did. Be clean, be green, but with what money? With what infrastructure? With what technology? This is the double standard at the heart of climate politics. You've probably heard the word net zero 1,000 times, but let's be clear. Net zero does not mean zero emissions. It means that rich nations and corporations can keep polluting so long as they offset it somewhere else. That usually means buying carbon credits from countries like Burkina Faso. In other words, Africa's forests become Europe's excuse to keep driving SUVs. Africa's land becomes a trading chip in a global carbon market. And yet the people living next to those forests still cook over open fires because they have no electricity. Is that justice? Is that sustainability? When I speak about this, I speak not just as an observer, but as a son of Burkina Faso. I speak for the farmers who see their lands taken in the name of green investment. I speak for the mothers who walk miles to fetch water because local rivers are drained for industrial projects. I speak for the children who deserve lights in their classrooms, but instead see foreign companies exporting their sunlight abroad. This is not just an African issue. It's a human issue. So what is the solution? It's not about rejecting renewable energy. Solar, wind, and hydro can change lives, but they must be built for people, not just for profit. That means making sure villages have solar panels before factories do. It means hospitals in Burkina Faso should have reliable electricity before multinational corporations get tax breaks. It means the green transition must include justice, fairness, and equality. Because if sustainability leaves billions of people behind, it isn't really sustainable. So the next time you hear a leader talk about net zero, ask yourself, who is it really for? If it doesn't light up schools in Africa, if it doesn't power hospitals in the poorest regions, if it doesn't give children a future with dignity, then it isn't green. It's just branding. The true test of sustainability is not what it looks like in the headlines of New York or London. It's what it feels like in the villages of Burkina Faso, the slums of Lagos, and the streets of Dhaka. Ladies and gentlemen, Green must mean green for everyone, or it means nothing at all. Thank you for listening. And if you believe the world deserves an honest conversation about climate justice, share this video, subscribe for more, and let's make sure the voices of the forgotten are finally heard.